Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is April 9th, 2022. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about, and I have a lot to show you. I'm going to try not to be so long-winded and be on here for an hour and a half while you guys fall asleep. But anyways, listen, folks, we have some amazing images that are going to blow your mind, because most of today I've been analyzing these photographs, and yes, once again, my mind is completely blown. But what I want to go over is there's a situation that is brewing on the back side of the sun, which we normally don't get any type of public feed that we can analyze. What's happening right now? Now, this is going to be, a little scientific. I'll make it kind of easy to understand. But we're going to go right here to space weather, and we're going to check this out. They have a headline here, what's happening on the far side of the sun. And it says, there is a sunspot group on the far side of the sun so large it is altering the way the sun vibrates. Note the big dark spot in this helioseismic map of the sun. Now, yes, it did say seismic, helioseismic. So there is a complete field of study called helioseismology. That's a little tongue twister there. But it goes on to further state that helioseismology is the study of acoustic waves on the sun. The sun is constantly vibrating as a result of its own inner boiling turmoil. It's quite a cacophony. What a word. Cacophony of helioseismologists likened to the sound of a piano falling down stairs. NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory can detect and decode these vibrations, which reveal structures like far side sunspots. Well, folks, I always show you guys the SDO, visions of the sun, which I'm going to have some of that at the end of this stream. You're going to see some really wild, close-up, 4K, ultra-high definition views of what is happening. Now, just about a week ago, we had the Planet X stellar core all the way at the top of the sun. Then several days later, there was movement back towards the 10 o'clock position. And as I've stated before, this object is in a 28-day orbit around our sun. It is not going anywhere. To answer some questions, it is not going to be crashing into the sun. It is not going to be crashing into the Earth. It has been in this orbit now for approximately, well, I'd say going as far back as my evidence, visual evidence, 2007. That orbit decreased, and now it is set in that 28-day orbit. So let's go ahead and check this out. Now, what does this all mean, this dark spot right here? So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you what this is. Okay, here we go. This is HMI, helioseismology. And again, I know probably 99.9% of you have never heard about this type of science before. But this is what I study pretty much on a daily basis. A lot of these products that you see here, the video products is what they're called, we really don't have access to. Every now and then you will catch scientists that publish papers or publish articles, and they have access to this imagery, and they post links in the articles for the public viewing. So it's not like you can go back there and pull data. You have to have a login and a password. So we're going to go ahead and check this out. And I have seen this before. I believe 2000, at the end of 2019, going into 2020. And during this period of time, it's just like the timing of the position of this object and active regions on the sun connecting. Well, I have photographs today that are showing you in clear view how the sun and this object are making connections with each other, probably, magnetic, electrical, and plasma connections. But anyways, let's check this out. Here is the full-scale video. Let's blow this up. Now, I'm just going to stop this right here because it's going too fast. So I'm going to forward all the way to the point right there. This is the monster that they're looking at. Now, it's real easy for authorized people, authorized scientists, authorized helioscientists to have access to these views on the backside of the sun. Now, we can get some backside views of the sun through the GO-16, through NOAA Space Weather, but we don't get anything like this. So this massive region right here, let's just consider this to be a huge hot spot, a huge active region that is turning towards the Earth. Within the next week, that bad boy, if it continues, will go from this direction here. Because now remember, we're looking at the back side of the sun, not the front. The Earth view. This is not the Earth view. This is behind the sun. So it will be rotating this way. And as it goes around, it's going to go all the way around, and it's going to be facing the Earth. Now, there is a very high possibility that this region, this will all close. Just completely close, and there will be nothing there. Basically, let's just say it will evaporate. But I've never seen one this large before. I mean, this is so massive, I don't even know how many Earths that you could fit inside of that region. But this is what I've been trying to explain to you folks as we continue to get further and further into this solar maximum. The magnetic connections between this stellar core object that we call Planet X and the sun is going to increase. So therefore, the more violent the activity on the sun is going to be. So that puts the Earth kind of in the crosshairs quite a bit more. And, the stretch of time for all of this, a solar maximum cycle runs for 11 years. Okay, it kind of creeps in for the first 3 years. You have a pretty high elevation, which will be till 2025. And then from 2025, things will start to decline slowly. You won't even notice it because things will still be highly active. But however, what this large active region is going to throw at the Earth could be quite interesting. Even though the Earth is situated right about here, right below the equatorial region of the sun, this object is above the equatorial region, but because of its mass, anything that occurs, coronal mass ejections, flares, filaments, whatever occurs in this region, if it stays this large, and it could grow, will make its way all the way around, and it will be a dead bullseye on the Earth. Because if this happens to explode, this will create probably, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would say a 10 as far as a large halo CME, which will just go directly from the sun in a large halo straight out into space, and you know where that will come. That will come directly through the Earth. That's basically it. It will be so big that it will just come straight through the Earth. Depending on the speed The slower it is, the more damage it does to our magnetosphere. Kind of higher speeds, they kind of come in, they go, and it's actually a little safer. So I don't know the speed of this. I don't know any more information on this, but I would say probably within the next, I'd say maybe 4 to 5 days, I should be able to pick up some additional information on this. But I'll let this play, and you guys can see the dates up here. Okay, so you have your regular normal activity. These sunspots, small, dark, and they come and go. But then once you get very, very close to just a few days ago, you see that very, very large black spot open up. So it kind of ends right there. Let me see when this exactly ends. Let me stop this for a second here. Let's push this all the way out to the end. Okay, this ends on the 9th, today. So I'll see somehow, some way, if I could get additional information on this. But we're going to be looking at this monster rolling right around. And again, it may completely dissipate. It can completely just go away. But this is what we're facing. Every time this object orbits the sun, it's going to be opening up these masses. Let's just use this analogy. It's like you falling down and scraping your elbow and opening up a wound. That's basically what this is. So that wound is open. Now, is there time for it to heal and close as it rotates around within the next 7 days? Yes, there is. But in all my years, I've never seen one that big. It is huge. So we'll kind of sit back, because we have no choice, and see what happens. But what just passed behind the sun? Yeah, correct. That stellar core was at this region right up here. It passed behind the sun, and it's going this way. Now remember, we're looking at the backside of the sun. The images that I'm going to show you, okay, everything lines up. As this object was making its way down this way, well, the sun was rotating that way. This was obviously a region that was very susceptible, or this stellar core object literally just sucked all the plasma directly off of the sun in this region, opening it wide open. But the images that I'm going to show you very shortly are going to prove this hypothesis. Now, I could be wrong, but when you put 2 and 2 together, it still comes up to 4. And I'm going to show you the images. But before we jump to that, I want to show you guys this article that just came out from the Watchers. A very, very good website on things that are going on weather-wise and with space weather around the world. March 2022 ends with the most violent tornadoes on record. Remember, folks, my last live stream and the one before, was telling all of you that we really have to start watching our weather. And it's going to be like this, and it's going to progress for the next 5 years. And then after that, look, we'll be going through the downward momentum of the solar maximum, but that doesn't mean anything now, because the game has changed. It has changed. So just because we go on a down scale going into the next solar minimum, it's really not going to mean anything, because the last solar minimum was so active, it was insane. It was like it was not even a solar minimum, when the sun is supposed to show very little activity, very little sunspots, but yet we had a coronal mass ejections almost on a daily basis. And I was able to record some of the best photographic evidence of this stellar core object that we refer to as Planet X. But anyways, March 2022 ends with the most tornadoes on record. Remember I was telling you folks that these tornadoes are really starting to whip up. It's almost like we're forgetting about hurricanes, because these tornadoes have been taking the headlines for the last several years. Tornado Alley is no longer in the middle of the United States. It has sunk far below. Now, remember when I showed you the jet stream model, and I showed you how far the jet stream has sunk downward? Well, as that jet stream sinks downward, it pushes weather systems down, further south. And for the last 3 years, that's where we've seen the mass amount of destruction from these tornadoes. And we just had several, less than a week ago. It was just horrific. So as we look at this chart right here from the National Weather Service, most March tornadoes on record, 218. Now, take a look at the year, 2017. In 2017, we were heading out of the solar minimum, okay? And in 2017, 2018, 19, that's when I started to see the progressive changes in the jet stream and our weather. And again, folks, this has nothing to do with the disguise of climate change. That's the disguising word that the governments are using, and you should all know that by now. We're not woke. We are not part of the woke crowd. We are the awakened. Anybody watching these videos, watching this evidence over the years, you understand it. You understand what I'm telling you and I'm showing you. So therefore, you're not woke, but your mind has been awakened. So there you go. We see the progression. 2017, 192. Look at the jump in just several years from 2017 to 2022, 218. That's just in the month of March. That is one 30-day period. It's insane. And it's probably going to get worse. Excuse me. As the data comes out, as we move through the month of April and May and June, we're probably going to see more records broken for each month, just like you're seeing here for the month of March. Very interesting. But I've been going over tons and tons of data for the last couple of days, and it has been just absolutely mind-blowing. I could have probably made 20 videos over the last 3 days, but I've been just completely enthralled with what I'm seeing, what I'm finding, and these latest images are absolutely crazy looking. I'm sorry I sound so excited. Maybe I shouldn't be, but you know, when you use many years of your life trying to prove something, and you show the evidence and you're called a liar and a fake and every single name in the book, but now all of a sudden people are really starting to wake up. More people are starting to understand that, yeah, something's happening. and it's happening rapidly. And these are things that we should be concerned with. And these are things that we should open our mind up to. Remember, knowledge is power, and that could save your life. That could save the lives of your loved ones. So let's always keep that in mind. Okay, so we know this is happening. We know that this tornado pattern is increasing. And I'm going to go ahead and dump out of these two over here. And real quick, just want to show you guys what I mean in case you did not catch the last live stream, which you should. And at this point in time, folks, so look, I'm not tooting my horn here or anything like that, but when you see me post a video or live stream or premiere or anything of that nature, get on it. Watch it from the beginning all the way to the end. Whether you think I'm long-winded or not, the information is going to be quite valuable. Now let's take a look at the jet stream patterns, and I'm going to go ahead and just stop this so we can get a better, clearer view of it. Okay, well, let's just zoom into the United States for right now, because this is what we're talking about. Now, I'm going to pan back here. We're going to take a look at the top of the Earth. Okay, this is the jet stream. Well, the jet streams as in plural, because normally the jet stream should be one kind of complete circular pattern with a few waves and dips and troughs in it. Okay, but we see all kinds of different breakaway regions all around here. It's been like this for years, but it's just progressively getting worse. Now, those tornadoes, they were all down through this section here. Remember, I told you Tornado Alley was normally up around in this range here. Now it is moved right through this section. And it was so bad the last couple of years, and it's going to continue. But you could see why. Let's pan back. You see this large swath of the jet stream? It just pushed through there. Huge break right there. And what occurred? All of that absolutely horrific weather. Now, we can actually go back. Let's see here. We could go back. Okay. You see what just occurred right here? Let's zoom in here. We have this huge trough right there that is pulling down all the way into Texas. That really, really cold air. You have all of this warm air being pulled up by this jet stream. And where did they collide? You're looking at it. You're looking at it right there. So this has been going on for quite some time. Several years now. I think this is going on 3 years. That this region has just really increased with tornadic or tornado activity. Usually what happens is this starts to stretch over into Georgia, South Carolina, and in North Carolina. Now, even though some of these regions are mountainous and you wouldn't expect tornadoes, but on the other side of those mountains, the tornadoes are touching down. And they're doing massive amounts of destruction. I mean, the possibilities of eliminating a town exist. Flattened. Nothing left. It can reduce a town to nothing in a matter of minutes. And these are things that we're going to be faced with over the next 5 years, over the next decade, probably for the most of us, the rest of our lives. The rest of our lives on this planet. That's crazy. At the same time, it's a little scary. But anyways, I'm going to be keeping track of a lot of this data, and I'll make sure that I keep all of you guys in the loop, and we'll learn more. We will definitely learn more. Let's check these photographs out. These are about to probably blow your mind because over the last, I'd say, over the last couple of hours, since this data came through, I've captured similar images, but not as clear as this. Having access to the new software that I've been using for the last 3 years and help, much help from an individual on the other side that actually has the ability to use, it's kind of like a supercomputer system that will withdraw this data, and I'm not talking about the public feed data, the true data. And again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get myself in trouble. But these are the things that are seen on the other side of the desk. Okay? This is not the public feed that we see on these coronagraph websites. And after running it through several processes, bingo. We have the unveiling. So let's check this out. So about 6 days ago, we had the object directly here. Excuse me. You all saw that. Then we had the object over here. And you all saw that. So we're looking at this eccentric pattern. Well, bingo. What just came from the backside of the sun? Because the view we're looking at here right now is the Earth view. So this object went around. It was here. It has a kind of a stalling motion because it is the closest that it is to the sun at this point. Took about 4 or 5 days for it to make it over here. And now we're looking at its decline. Now this is where this object picks up speed. And it really starts to kind of motor right out of the view of the coronagraph. Excuse me, folks. My allergies are starting up. Oh, God. And I've had this little tickle in the back of my throat. Can't seem to get rid of it. But I think this spring, my allergies are going to be probably insane. And I don't take any medication for it because I refuse to put that kind of shit into my body. But anyways, so this is where we're at right now. So what was on the backside of the sun? That object was on the backside of the sun. What was the information that I just showed you guys? That big, gigantic, massive opening on the backside of the sun. So literally, like what tore that open? There's nothing on the backside of the sun that would be able to create that type of situation except what you're seeing here in front of you right now. Now, what amazes me with these photographs is look at the material. Look at the material that this object is literally, it's like it's outgassing. There's several things that could be occurring here, but let's get a closer look. Okay, there could be material that's being pulled away from the sun, and unfortunately the sun's being blocked in the coronagraph from this black occulter. And again, this is not the size of the sun. This is a black occulter. It is inside of the lens of the camera. It's used to block out the intense rays of the sun so you can see the coronal mass ejections in different angstroms of light and extreme ultraviolet light, for instance, on the LASCO C2 and C3 coronagraphs that are red and blue. So anyways, this could be plasma that's being pulled away as this object passes. This could be material that was collected as this object moved from the backside of the sun, opening up that huge region that we just looked at in the article from Space Weather. And that could be what is trailing, literally trailing, like a freaking comet, that has that long outgassing tail. Or this could be a direct connection to the sun. I personally think that what we're looking at here is some of both. A direct connection and this material literally being pulled away, opening up that gaping hole on the backside of the sun. So that does give us some hope that there is time for that to heal and close before it comes around and starts facing us. So even though this object has done the damage as it passed by on the backside, there still is time for it to heal and close. But this is an amazing photograph. This is absolutely crazy. You could literally see how this object is lit up. You see that little faint ridges all the way around it where it's kind of white. I mean, that's either the sun's light illuminating it or the increased temperature as all of this violence is occurring on the backside of the sun when this object is at its closest point, which would be a natural occurrence. Absolutely crazy looking. I mean, this is one of the best photographs. This one will go down in history somewhere. But truly amazing. Just, I don't know. I'm a little excited because this is really, 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 really outrageous, and it's so damn clear. It's so damn clear. How could you deny that? Evidence from the backside of the sun, published by helioseismologists. And then, a day later, well, maybe 2 days later, what do we see? What are we looking at? Wow. This is a negative. Freaking look at that. I mean, it's for a good while when the images came through, I just I couldn't just put it together for a second there, because it almost looked like some type of a crazy looking comet, but we know it's not a comet. And then more images came through, and it was going through the program was going through different angstroms of ultraviolet light, and it freaked me out when these came through like about an hour later. So what we have here, same image, and this was on the 9th April, high noon. Or is that midnight? Sorry. Or is that noon? Sorry. Yeah. 12:36. They use that damn UTC, UT time, the time, that universal time. It gets me freaking confused. Anywho, let's get closer. We could zoom in on that. The next photograph is when I use the zoom on some of these, the smaller photographs, they tend to get a little blurry. That's why I always have 3 versions in high definition, so me zooming in on my little regular picture program here doesn't distort it. But look at that. And you can literally see, let's go to the next, to the larger photograph. Let's zoom in here. You can literally see, it looks like right here is one point of connection, and then right here. See how it's darker? And then all of this mess in between is much lighter. It's just absolutely amazing. You know, I mean, are these large volcanic eruptions? What is going on the surface of this stellar core? Could you only imagine the activity, the intense heat, the outgassing? It's crazy. I wasn't expecting these images, but they did come through about 30 minutes before I was going to put all of this together for you guys, and then it took another 2 hours for the rest of this to the rest of the images to render from the program. So amazing. It usually does not spit out these darker images, but somehow, some way, this is what we're looking at. So thank you very much for giving us these images. But let's zoom in on this. And this gives us even a more clearer perspective of what I was saying. I did think there was something unusual going on right here. I was like, what is that ball right there? But as I went ahead and researched, that is a very, very large coronal prominence that popped, and it created that coronal mass ejection right here and right here. But the coronal mass ejection was pointed in this downward direction. Nothing for us to worry about, just a little bit of a show. So again, here we can see this this connection. It's either connection or it is a trailing stream of hundreds of thousands of miles of debris and plasma that was just literally ripped from the backside of the sun. Here's a clearer image. You see those connections right there and right there. And it pulls back and it pulls back. That is absolutely incredible. And 1/4 image was rendered. I normally do not get these, but this gave us the closest, clearest upfront view. Truly amazing. No pixelization. Very, very clear. And again, you know, I don't have a complete explanation on what is going on here, but all of my years of experience, all of my years of research, and just, you know, kind of basic physics and knowledge of space weather and the sun and what goes on out there in deep space. Again, this could be material pulled from the backside of the sun, opening up that huge, gigantic, massive area, which will, again, be turning towards us in the next 5 to 7 days. Or this is an electrical connection or a plasma connection. Let's just say the possibilities of this being all three of those are in a very, very high percentile. So I believe after these images, and just let me go back here. I believe and after these images here, it is already on the 9th. I don't think as this object progresses downward, it's going to be out of the view of the coronagraphs, and we will probably not get another view of it for approximately 7 to 10 days, probably more closer to the 7, as it starts to, you know, make its way back up. And if we do catch it, it will be very, very far down here. Sorry about that little menu keeps popping up, but it will be very, very far down here. We probably won't catch it at that point, but as it starts to progress back upward and that would be more in the lines of about 10 to 12 days, then we will probably catch it right here, because at that point in time, it is very close to the sun, very close to the equatorial region of the sun, and that's where it will make its connection. That's where we will see a very large coronal mass ejection, which at that point in time, we will get another visual. So in the meantime, Lord knows what's going to happen with our weather. It's completely freaked out all over the globe. I'm sure all of you heard about the massive amount of flooding in Sydney, Australia. Very severe amounts of damage. It's pretty bad. I've gotten emails and some messages from long time followers of mine in Australia that live in Sydney, that I've known for years now. And they say, Scott, we've never seen anything like it. Just came out of nowhere. One person said it was like we got all of our winter rain in one day. And I was just talking about Australia several days before in a video, and kind of like throwing a little warning out there that, things were setting up. Things were setting up for this massive weather change in certain parts of Australia, not the whole country. But that soon changes as the months go by. Same is going to apply for us here in the United States, and late spring, early summer, that transition is going to quickly move into the European countries. So if any of you guys can hear me over in Europe, you got a little bit of time, but, kind of prepare yourself with, some emergency goods, because the percentage of flooding that's going to be coming your way this late spring and summer is going to be catastrophic. So, having things set up where, you could make emergency evacuations, have your documents, food and water, medical kits, things of that nature. Just think ahead. Just think ahead, because I'm telling you, it is coming. It is coming. And then as we move further into the mid to late summer, things are going to progress into the Middle Eastern countries, into India and the South Pacific. And it's going to be an eye-opener this year, folks. 2022 will be a year that you'll never forget. That much is a fact. Anyways, real quick before I forget, I wanted to thank each and every one of you that has helped out with the contributions and the donations for Dr. Elber's medical fund. Again, I get real humbled by the help and the support. I've always been a very, very independent person. I've always been the person that has reached out and helped others. So I'm really, really not used to others helping me. I've tried to go through the hundreds of emails that all of you have sent. Very loving and caring and motivating. I do have to say that. It has been a big help. The stem cell therapy is it's probably the only thing that is going to give her comfort in life into the future. And look, a lot of this stem cell stuff is experimental. They're still breaking leaps and bounds, into the future with this, and I believe that this is something that will help. It's just very, very expensive. And for all of you that have helped out, excuse me, it's been incredible. I know that I'm just a face and a voice, and we're kind of all strangers, in a sense. But it is very humbling when hundreds, thousands of you reach out with your own heart and help somebody else. It's yeah, don't get me all mushy here, but you know what I'm saying. Thank you all very, very much. We still have a very long road to go, and I'm sure we will get to that goal, and we'll go from there. But thank you very much. And if anybody else would like to contribute, the link for the medical fund is in the description box under the videos. Folks, take a few minutes now, sit back, and check out these views of the sun that I recorded over the last few days from HelioViewer. Stay safe and stay tuned. Now sit back and check this out.